Hi guys, welcome to my kitchen. I'm going to talk superfoods today. It's been something that I'm very passionate about and I've written blogs about it. And this past week we talked about it on Angels Don't Lie. So I also just did another blog post which had to do with our health and well-being and the energy that we are carrying and how to improve that with live foods and superfoods. So I go into explaining what these live foods and superfoods are. So I thought I would walk you through, in the blog, I include some superfoods, my favorite, my go-tos, and why I use these foods. I gave you a little brief description as well as what they're good for, so you can start to implement them in your life. I'll talk a little bit about where I shop, where I get my superfoods from, and I'm going to teach you a method, my favorite method for using my superfoods in a shake. So to start today, I'm going to show you my mushroom brew because it's going to be kind of the base for the shake that we're going to do. So this morning early, I got my shaga out and I bought shaga chunks. And I keep my superfoods in jars. It was easily labeled, no packaging, and I can easily access them as well. So you can see that these are nice chunks. You can also buy shaga in square-like chunks, a little bit bigger. And they can be reused again because shaga takes a long time for the properties to pull out. So it's a slow, steady boil, and then you turn it down. So you never really reach a high boiling point, and so you just slowly simmer it for a long time until you get a nice caramel color, which I have here in this bowl, and I'll show you on this spoon. So here's the color, and as you can see, it's syrupy looking, almost like a coffee looking. So I went ahead after that's ready, and I'm going to add the reishi mushroom because reishi doesn't need as long as the shaga does to kind of cook and have the health benefits. So I ground some of my reishi up, and this is how I got my reishi. It's a nice big mushroom, dried. And I got both of these, shaga and reishi, off of a website called Mountain Rose Herbs. Mountain Rose Herbs does all organics, which is lovely. Mostly I do try to buy my stuff locally. We don't have a place in New Milford that I know of yet that has the mushrooms, although there's a new apothecary opening up. Twin Star Herbal School is opening an apothecary right on Bing Street, so I'm hoping maybe they'll have some mushrooms. And Lupo, the owner of Twin Star, is very knowledgeable and does a great program on herbal studies, so something you might keep in mind. So I'm going to take this pot and just bring it over to the stove and put that on low. It won't take too long for the reishi to marry well with the shaga. Why we're going to use reishi, why we're going to use this little mushroom brew as part of our base for our healing, our superfood, is because it's antiviral, it's anti-tumor, it's anti-inflammatory. So it works on many levels, which is amazing. And this time of year, which is a time of year where a lot of us get the winter blues or really run down, we get sick, a virus. I've had a little virus myself. I've had a hard time getting rid of it. So that's why I'm going for the mushroom brew. I'm going to bring out the big dogs, and that's what I consider the mushroom brew to be. So I won't use all of that brew today. I'm going to use probably about about a half a cup in the mushroom brew, and the rest I'll store in the refrigerator, and I'll use within 72 hours. And the reason why you make a batch and you use it quickly is because we're not using a preservative. So just like anything that you cook homemade, it has a shelf life, and we don't want to have it grow any bacteria, and I'm not putting an extra preservative in it. They do make tinctures with mushroom brew, but that contains an alcohol, and I don't like to have the alcohol only because I stay away from sugar. So that's my thing. Okay, so in the blog today, I spoke about my favorite superfoods, some of my go-tos. I talked about cacao. This is how I keep my cacao in a large jar. This is raw, unrefined chocolate. Very different than regular cocoa. This is cacao. And cacao comes not only in powder form, it also comes in chunks, and it comes in butter, a cacao butter. And cacao is a rich blood builder. So it has lots of cleaning the blood properties, iron. Some say it's has noble properties to it, almost magnetic. So this is the cacao butter that I get. And you can see it's kind of hard. It's more waxy than it is soft. So you can use that as well. Again, these are superfoods that have lots of nutrients and minerals that we don't get in normal food source. Goji berries. Goji berries are high antioxidant, high anti-cancer, anti-inflammatory, antiviral, and they have a nice sweet tangy taste. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to start adding my superfoods, and I'll explain them as I go. In the base of my mixer, I put a small scoop of ice. There's probably about 10 ice cubes. And the reason I do that is so that I have a kind of a thicker consistency. So I'm doing about a handful, a palmful of gojis right in there. If I wanted it a little sweeter, I would add a little more. But I don't mind the taste. You might want to add a couple more to make it a little sweeter in the beginning. I do a heaping tablespoon of raw cacao. Why? Because I like it. I like the deep dark chocolate flavor, and it's just it gives you such a lift. This is similar to my cacao buzz, which will lift you and make you feel really great. If you were to drink a shake like this every single day, your body would not only get vital nutrients and minerals that it's been deprived of, it will also start to feel lifted and you'll feel great. So it's an amazing tool. Next, we're going to move on to the seaweeds, and I have two different seaweeds that I'm going to add in today. One is going to be a dulse flake. With the seaweed flakes, to begin with, you're going to want to try a pinch. The reason being that obviously seaweed has a little bit of a stronger taste, and a smaller pinch mixes well with the cacao, so you don't necessarily get overpowered with the seaweed taste. Eventually you can add another pinch, so a double pinch, which is probably about a half a tablespoon, and you're going to get all the rich irons. You're going to get the live food from being in the water. It's just amazing what seaweed does for brain health, for blood cleansing. Next, we're going to use wakame flakes. So again, this is the way the flakes look, similar, a little bit bigger than the dulse flakes. Again, I'm going to do my pinch. Mine's a little heftier than maybe what you'll try to start out with. And if you grab my blog over at jeannestreet.com, you can also read up on the benefits that I include in the blog. Next is my all-time favorite, spirulina. Spirulina, for me, is an amazing superfood. The angels have helped me to see this food as being a healing component for my life, for the gut, because spirulina can heal a leaky gut when you follow a proper diet. So if you have gut issues, if you have IBS, if you have, I'm doing about a half a tablespoon. If you have IBS, if you have diverticulitis, changing your diet and removing some of the foods that are toxic and then adding spirulina will ease your gut, which promotes a healthy brain function. So it works with the liver, it works on a cleansing and lifting. It's quite an amazing superfood. Next, we're going to go to turmeric. Turmeric is an anti-inflammatory. So it's a must for somebody that has fibromyalgia, somebody that has joint pain or back pain or any type of pain. It also helps the body rid of toxins that are caused with being an inflamed state. So turmeric is an amazing superfood. All right, where are we? Bee pollen. I love bee pollen. I get my bee pollen local. You can buy it on Mountain Rose Herbs. I just prefer if I can get it local, so I got this down at the Natural Food Market. You can go in if you live in the New Milford area and visit Erin and tell her Jeannie sent you, and she'll hook you up with bee pollen. I keep my bee pollen in the refrigerator when it's local, so it's nice and fresh. And I do a whole tablespoon, a big tablespoon of bee pollen. I love the flavor of bee pollen as well. And this little guy packs so many nutrients and amazing properties of not only antiviral, antibacterial, anti-cancer. It also helps with hormone imbalance, so infertility issues, overgrowth of candida. Bee pollen is an amazing superfood. So the things I didn't include in the blog were more bee products. Today we're going to use this basically from the beehive, which is the propolis. This has other healing properties among the ones that we talked about with the bee pollen. And I'm also going to use manuka honey. Manuka honey is a live active honey. So it has healing properties as similar to a probiotic. So it can help heal the gut with live active. And I'm going to do about that much of that honey. If you guys have any questions, you can go ahead and type them in and I'll try to answer them. I know I'm going a little fast for some of you. Let's see if I can get this open. It's a little sticky. All right, I won't fuss with this. Oh yes, I will. There we go. So I'm going to take off, again, I'm going to do about a top of the teaspoon. So the honeycomb itself, where the propolis is and all that yummy medicine, is so healing for the body in many ways. Also, the thing about bee medicine, the honey, the propolis, they work on an allergy level to help you with histamines and issues that if you're having too many foods that you're allergic to or not paying attention to, this can help you regain and balance out. So they're amazing superfoods. Hold on one sec. I'm just going to check on my reishi. It's looking good. It's marrying in well. So along with the reishi today, as my base, I'm also going to use aloe. Aloe will be my liquid, and same with my shaga mushroom brew. That will be my liquid that will make this super smoothie. The reason why I'm going to use aloe is because, as we know, healing with aloe, you put it on a burn, it heals and it takes the sting away and it helps the body to regenerate and no scar. Drinking aloe does the same thing internally. So when you take aloe in, you can heal your gut from the inside, which is an amazing, amazing component. So anybody that has liver issues or intestinal issues, cancer, I mean, really, aloe is your amazing food, superfood to go to. So we're going to go ahead and shake this up. And this one has not been opened yet, so I've had it in the cabinet. But once I open it, I will keep it in the fridge. And again, I'll probably use it within 5 days. I won't keep it too long in there. So I'm going to go ahead and pour. I don't know if you can see what I've got in here. It really looks, as most of you might think, disgusting, but it's actually delicious. So I've got about a cup in there. Now I'm going to go and grab a little bit of the mushroom brew. And because the mushroom brew has the fine particles of the mushrooms, I'm going to use a strainer. That I should have probably taken out ahead of time. Fine, I grabbed a big one, but it's not a problem. Because I don't want any of the mushroom particles in. So 1 scoop, that's all I'm going to use, and then I'm going to save the rest. I'm going to let it simmer and marinate some more, and then I will drain it and put it in some ball glass jars, and I'll keep it in the fridge, and then I'll add it to my tea in the morning, whether I'm drinking green tea, a nice matcha tea. I'll add it to smoothies again. I will drink it straight up. It can be added to soups. There's so many things that you can do with the mushroom brew to incorporate it into your meal. Okay, so here's our brew, our nice shake. We're going to put the top on. You can add some fruit to this, some blueberries, some cranberries, any other type of superfruit. Sometimes I add golden berries, things that will help make it a little sweeter and maybe to give it a little more body, if that's what you like. So it tastes more similar to a smoothie rather than just a straight up cacao buzz, which is what I'm going to drink today. And so cacao buzz for me is something that I would drink midday, throughout the day, probably not past 4 o'clock. And I've done that before, but it has caffeine and it will bring you up. So if you're going to have a long night, that's something that you can do. Something I will have a cacao buzz when I'm doing one of my events at the studio. So it will keep me going. An evening with spirit helps me to really lift up, connect with spirit, and really be in the best, highest vibration. So I'm going to put my Vitamix on. I'm going to whip this right up. Get it nice and blended. And here we go. Are you ready? So like I said, all of these things can be bought at a local health food store if you have a local health food store near you. Here in New Milford we have Natural Food Market, and she carries the goji berries, she carries the bee pollen, she carries the turmeric, she carries the seaweeds, she carries the spirulina, and the raw cacao. Pretty much everything except the mushrooms are something that she does not carry. Like I said, the mushrooms I've gotten offline, and I'm pretty sure that we might be able to get them local as soon as that new apothecary opens. So now I'm going to grab a straw. I like to tap mine with a straw because I can keep stirring it in case it settles. And here, it's got a pretty green flavor because I used a lot of spirulina. Yours might not look as green in the beginning because you'll probably use more chocolate and a little less spirulina. And there goes the dogs because it's snowing. Cheers to your health. So I hope this helped you, and if you have any questions about superfoods or you're worried about working with them, don't be. They're super fun and your body will thank you. I'm having a workshop at the studio. We were supposed to do one tonight, but we have a nor'easter, so we are not having it at the studio tonight, but we're going to reschedule it. And if it's something that you think you're interested in, you're going to have hands-on and you'll get to try, and we'll make a couple different dishes with superfoods and learn how you can work them into your life for your health. All right, have a great day, and it was fun to see you all.